In this tutorial, we are going to cover door templates. Door templates allow door configuration to be applied in bulk. You can create multiple templates and apply them differently to different types of doors. You can select a template when adding a new door to reduce your configuration time. It's great for that. Groups of doors also can be updated using a template. So you can also schedule that to run and modify the configuration of one door or a group of doors using a job specification. You can use templates to configure door parameters and operations. We'll see that in just a second. Before we get there, let's go ahead and cover the prerequisites. So you should be running ACM Enterprise version 5.12 or above. No extra license is needed. This is part of ACM standard enterprise license. I would suggest also that you define the standard settings that you want to apply for a door template. So make sure that you understand what those settings are that you want to standardize. So when you create a door templates, it goes smoother, it's easier to do that. Okay, now that we're logged in ACM, all you have to do is just go into physical access and you see there's a new option here called templates. Click on that. I already have one template created. I'm going to go ahead and just create a new one. So you can go here and say add a template or click add a template. Give it a name. So this will be my external doors. Let's call it that. It will be my template for external doors. So I'm going to do a different configuration. So then if you have partitions, you can go set them in partitions if you want to. And then you can have to come here and pick a vendor. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and use Mercury and some of the models. So let me cover that with you. So models. So you have a generic, which basically give you all the different options that we can provide in this template. Or you can go specific to one type of door. So you can do a Perio hubs, you can do PIM 400s, and you see that the options will change in here. So for example, if I do a engage gateway, notice that some of the options here change. I'm going to go ahead and just use the generic one and I'll go and pick some different options. Okay, so once you're here, if you don't change, or in other words, if you don't go in any of those fields, they will be left alone. In other words, they will go into that door configuration as the standard settings that you have today in ACM. So let's take a look. So first I'm going to go here, access type. So let's say this is a single door. And let's assume that the doors that the readers that I'm using, they are card, they have card and keypads. So go ahead and use for regular door external, I'm going to do card or pin. So in other words, you can card or pin into the system. Lock function, well, because I'm dealing with a standard reader, I'm not going to use that. If this was a wireless lock, I could come in here and predefine what kind of lock function I would want it to behave. Because I don't want to change that, so I'm just going to leave no change. I'm not going to use that. In case the door is offline, I want that door to operate in card and pin, so add an extra security there. Okay. Custom mode, so if I want this door to be, for example, as my front door, I want it to be unlocked during business hours, I would pick that, and then under the custom schedule, I would go in here and do whatever the time I want that door to be open. So in this case, I'm going to leave this without it, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave this no change. So those, and no change means I don't want to add any parameters to that particular configuration type. Mask force door, no, I probably do mask held door. Someone holds the door, so I'm going to do this during business hours. And you can keep going and doing all this other type information. Door partition, if you want to use that. And then on this side, you can define some of the other options in here. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, I want to see details and log access as used. So if you present the card to the reader, the system is going to assume that you open the door. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that. And do not log recs requests. Okay, just let's say that this is the type of parameters that I want to have that door. That's why it's important before you start to do this configuration that you have an understanding what exactly parameters you want for this template, so this will go a lot faster. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save that. And, oh, actually, I'm going to go back in because I got to define the other part. So the other part is operations. So I did the first part right here, parameters. Now let's go ahead and take a look in operations. Okay, click that. In operations, I can deal with anti-passback, area. If I need to add my door to one area, I could go here and add it. Because I'm going to do this bulk and updates in bulk, I don't want to use a setting that is specific to a door, so I'm going to leave this alone. Okay. Strike mode, I'm just going to use a standard cut short when open. LED mode, I want to set to LED 1, that's my default. And then over here, you can either enter value to change what is the default for our door. So for example, standard access time in ACM, the standard is 10 seconds. So let's say that I want only 5 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and add 5 in here, so this will do. And then I'm going to define what card formats I want this door to accept. So I'm going to go here and say assign. I could add or I could remove. If I already had some doors, I could go, or if I'm applying this to a door and I want to remove some of their card formats, I could create a template, a door template, just to remove those card formats. In this case, I'm going to assign. So I'm going to click assign. This opens the list, and I can click the first, hold shift, hit the bottom one, and get everything, or I can highlight and the one that I want, hold control, and just go pick the ones that I want this door to have. So in this case, let's say I want those 3 types of card formats. Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And now I have 2 templates. A couple of things I can do in here. If I already created a group of doors, I could go over here and say, I want to change my external doors to this parameter, for example. And I can click in this batch update. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And this now is going to bring this up and say, okay, pick the doors you want. So I would have a group of doors in here. I can go now and apply this setting that I just did into those doors. I'm going to start from scratch. So what I'm going to do is go to doors, create a new door. So add door. And watch what's going to happen now. Now it's going to give you this template. So now I can go over here and select, let's say I'm going to select the one we just created, external, and I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. When I do this, watch what's going to happen here. The reader is going to come in, the door is going to come in predefined. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And notice that those settings that we selected when we created the template, they're coming in. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put the door in here. So this will be my let's do the west side entry door. Okay, Mercury. Go ahead and save that. Notice that I don't have the parameter screen here yet. So when I save that, it's going to give me parameters and now operations. Notice that operations just came in. This, as I said before, this standard access door by default is 10 seconds, but because I specified 5 in the template, it came in at 5. And if you remember, I select those 3 card formats. Okay, that's the ones that are checked out of all the ones that I have in the system. Okay, once that's done, I can go ahead and hit save. This will take me now to the next screen where I can come in and define the reader, right? So now this is the door. I can go pick the reader, pick the door contact, strike, and request to exit, whatever I need to do. So this will be specific to the door. But if you notice, this cuts down in a pretty good chunk of information that you have to enter, right? So normally you would have to go here to and define all this manually, all that, plus operations, all these items, right? Using door templates, you can basically automate that process and save some time.